Hi all, welcome to our presentation today from Dodge Australia. Our relationship with Dodge Australia is a very good one. So we have been associated with Dodge for the last 40 odd years. Now Dodge, like Motion, we're not just suppliers, we are solutions sellers. So what this means is obviously we do more than just sell product. We actually solve customer solutions. And this is something that Dodge are very good at. Today we have Nayan. Nayan is based in Melbourne. He's a product manager for Dodge. Now, Nayan has a great ability to be able to design not only conveyor drives, but complete conveyors themselves and the drives to suit. So that's an invaluable resource for us here at Motion and also for our customer. So without much further ado, I'll introduce you to Nayan, product manager for Dodge, and he can get started. Just quickly, we'll have a Q&A. The Q&A panel will be open at the end of the session. So please feel free to drop any questions into the Q&A section within the presentation. Okay, thanks very much. On to you, Nayan.
Thanks, Steve. Morning, everyone. I'm Nayan Bagal. I'm a product manager at Dodge Australia. I'm a mechanical engineer and associated with Dodge for almost 12 years now, 2 years in India and 10 in Australia. I have previous experience working with companies like ThyssenKrupp and Bosch. So I've worked for conveyor designing programs and most of the material equipments. So I'll be covering today about the Dodge product overviews. We have multiple products, but what we'll be focusing is 5 products today, which are basically used in or we're targeting for the bulk material handling sector. So we'll go through our organization and sales coverage. We'll talk about product overview of our TA2 and MTA, which is part of our gearing profile. We'll talk about product overview on ISN bearings, which is a spherical roller bearing. We'll also talk about CMA conveyor drums, and we'll talk about a Raptor coupling as well, followed with if you have any Q&A. So who are we? So Dodge has pretty decent history in the mechanical power transmission. I've been in this industry for almost 140 years, and Dodge is pioneers in a lot of mechanical power transmission components. We invented the wooden pulley, and then eventually those pulleys and belt drives, and that's what we started our manufacturing, and then we started adding new products in our basket, which eventually the coupling products or the bearing products or the gearing products, and we pretty much have everything in our basket now, which is used for many mechanical power transmission products. So we promote ourselves as Steve said, we just don't promote ourselves as a product supplier. We promote ourselves as a solution provider. And when we say that, it's more about when we go and see customers, we'll try to understand what are the current problems, and how we can help customer to solve those problems. Let's say if you have any conveyor which is not performing well or it's stalling, or if you want to increase the capacity of the conveyor, or if you have any specific bearing of other make which is failing, we just don't replace it like we'll try to take a couple of steps back, understand what are the problems, gather some inputs, do a thorough check on what's the reason of the failures. We get some help from the US as well if required, and then we offer a solution which makes sure that we pull out customer from the existing problem and we provide solution which will last long. So as I said, we are a solution provider. We just don't promote ourselves as any product supplier. Our sales coverage. So we are based in Melbourne. So we have a warehouse in Melbourne. And we 4 people sit here. Hilden is our division manager who looks after Victoria, Tassie, New Zealand as well, and Asia Pac region. Myself, I look after product management and operations. We have 2 girls, Amisha and Himani, who are more into back-end support to process the orders and purchasing. We have Andrew Cousins in Queensland, who looks after Queensland, New South Wales, NT, and New Zealand as well. And we have Lucas, who started in January, who looks after WA and SA. So we are pretty much covering the whole Australia in terms of sales activity. Uh, So the industry which we'll be targeting today or talking about is more about bulk material handling. And when we say bulk material handling, we're sort of medium-sized bulk material handling. So whether it's aggregate cement or grain handling or medium-sized mining, or we talk about a forest products. So most of these industry have common applications. We can supply Dodge products, which includes belt conveyors, rotary mills, or pumping, elevator, screw conveyors. If you go to the grain, again, the same belt conveyors, or they have some dragging conveyors as well. Screw conveyor is pretty common between aggregate and grain handling. Mining is sort of medium mining where I mean, this is what we're targeting here, that belt conveyors, rotary mills, or pumping. We do have a larger gearing product as well for high capacity or large conveyors. However, we're not covering that today. And in forest product, we have conveyors and debarkers, dryers. A lot of equipments in this industry, forest product, has been designed and developed in USA and has been supplied along with Dodge products. So we are capable of replacing those products as well as if we're getting involved to design or develop something new if customer has a problem. So we'll be talking about four target industries, which can cover the five products, which will be going through in next few slides. Steve, would you like to?
As Nain mentioned, and as I mentioned before in our introduction, both Dodge and Motion have had a fantastic relationship over the last 40 years, both in Australia and over in the US. Actually, over in the US, Dodge is Motion's #1 supplier as far as revenue is concerned. So we have a very we hold their relationship very close to us, and it is very valuable for both us and for Dodge here in Australia to cover that bulk materials handling market. Thanks, Nate.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. So now let's move to the product. So the target product is torque arm, motorized torque arm, which is gearing, eyes and bearings, Raptor, and SEMA. Let's start with torque arm, or we also call it as torque arm 2. So this is our belt-driven gearbox. As you see in the picture, this is the product which we actually introduced first in the market, and then eventually we came with the next product range. So the roots are pretty old. It goes till 1949 or 50, where we initially introduced a belt product or the belt driven gearbox, and then subsequently in future years, with a lot of R&D, we have come up with the screw conveyor design in 1962, followed with the twin taper bushing, which makes the gearbox installation removal pretty easy. So that sort of innovation in 1972, which changed the way how the gearboxes are mounted or removed from the shafts. We launched 1988 a TXT series, which is still very popular within US, and it is used widely in most of the industry and application. TA2 was the next version of TXT, which is launched in 2000. So a lot of time we encourage customer to actually replace TXT by TA2 because it's a new innovative design and has been in the industry for last almost I would say 20, 25 years. And in 2007, we actually came up with the motorized torque arm where we decided to uh, produce a gearbox where we remove the belt drive system and we make it more compact and clean drive, where you can actually mount the motor onto the gearbox and it's become a motorized torque arm. In tier two, again, like it has pretty long history, and we say it is a shaft-mounted belt reducer. It obviously required a V belts to drive it. Again, standard ratios are 5, 9, 15, 20, 40. However, with the belt drive, you can actually achieve a numerous speeds requirement. So that's the reason this is still very popular drive within the industry uh, with the belt drive. Twin taper bushing is part of this drive, so you need to have the twin taper bushing to mount this box onto the shaft or for its removal. They are designed for very high duty service. They can work very well with the harsh environments, high shock loads, dusty environment, and where you need the durability is very critical, or you can't afford to have in downtime. So that's where this product goes and perform really well. In tier two, we have almost 12 sizes. So starts from size 0 to size 12. And then there are a lot of accessories which goes along with that, which helps to improve the performance of the gearbox. Our Tier 2s are designed with AGMA standards, so which is a American Gear Manufacturing Association. The twin taper roller bearings is part of this gearbox, which I'll talk in next few slides. This gearbox has backstop. I mean, it's additional feature if you want to have it, and that can works with EP additives. The preliminary oil seal is made up of a very high quality rubber material, which has a temperature range of minus 40 to 150 degrees. It can be mounted straight onto the shaft of the twin taper. It has a screw conveyor arrangement as well. It can mount it vertically or at angle as well. So some of the application where we see that the gearbox need to be mounted at a certain angle, and that's where we get involved, and then we suggest what sort of oil level we need to maintain, or if any other precautions or any additional accessories customer need to purchase while purchasing the gearbox. Again, standard ratios, so pretty much covers most of the speed requirement, which makes it easy to replace other manufacturer boxes. Yeah. About the twin taper. So this is some sort of a pioneer thing which Dodge developed, and this has been popular for so long. And this is one of the best feature of our gearbox, where the mounting and dismounting become very easy. So what the twin taper is, you actually get twin taper bushings, which are two bushings. So one come on the front of the gearbox, one come at the back of the gearbox. And the way these bushings are developed, which makes the mounting of this gearbox onto the shaft pretty quick. The best part is the dismounting. If you have to take off the gearbox for any maintenance purpose or any checks and all, it really takes 15-20 minutes to remove the gearbox. However, most of the time, if you see, if the gearbox runs for years and years, you may have to gasket the shaft, or it's very hard to remove the gearboxes. And we have seen some customers, and we heard stories about customer having nightmare to remove these gearboxes from the shaft. Imagine you have a conveyor at a high tower, and something fails at night, and you have to take off the gearbox and put a new one. These things make it so easy. Otherwise, you have to cut the shaft and you have to make a new pulley or new shaft, and that's how this became very popular for installation as well as removal. Now, in twin taper, we have two designs actually. We have a standard twin taper, which is the top or most image, and the bottom is the short shaft. Like a lot of other product or gearboxes has a very smaller shaft length requirement and a width. And that is because we use AGMA standards, our gears are much wider. So our gearboxes has a much wider width compared to others. So when you're trying to replace other boxes, you may find that the shaft length or the key seat is not good enough or doesn't have a sufficient to put the Dodge box on it. And that's where the short shaft bushing comes in picture, where you see on the right hand side bottom, there is elongated portion within the bush itself, which actually supports the shorter length of the existing shaft. So if we are trying to replace a competitor box, we don't encourage or don't request customer to change the shaft. We can still manage with the existing shaft using the short shaft bushing, and we still install Dodge gearbox on it. Bearing is again one of the important part of the gearing, and what Dodge done it is over the period we try to understand what are the cause of problems, what are the cause of failures on these gearboxes, and we try to address all those problems when we develop these boxes. So in most of the cases, almost all competitors use either spherical roller bearings or ball bearings in their gearboxes. What Dodge uses is a taper roller bearing. So all our Tier 2 or MTA comes with taper roller. Each and every bearing is a taper roller bearing, because these boxes will always experience thrust load, shocks, vibrations, and taper roller bearing is the best among all to handle those kind of shock loads and thrust. And that's where I think we score well, supplying all the boxes with a taper roller bearing. Our L10 life of these bearings is 5,000 hours. Like again, as you understand, L10 life is sort of a calculated life considering all the factors, whether it's the temperature, lubrication, the dynamic loading on the bearing, the duty hours, whatever the worst situation can these bearings be standing on. So most of the other product are within the range of 2000 to 2500 hours of L10 life. So we almost have double L10 life in terms of bearing, and that actually increases the life of the whole gearbox itself. Uh, so the bottom line is, the Dodge is almost double the life in terms of bearing when we compare to the other competitor, because of what we use is taper roller bearing, which is which is a high quality, expensive bearing, but we want to make sure that we supply something which will last long because that's what these application demands. Sealing is another best feature. Again, it's a product or it's a subcomponent of the gearbox which may have the least value in terms of dollar, but it plays very important role. And sealing obviously keep the dust or moisture, restrict them not to enter into the box. What Dodge develops is our seals are HNBR, so they are actually hydrogenated nitrile butadiene rubber. So what we do is we actually standard NBR seals get treated with or with the hydrogen, which makes them which changes their structural behavior, and we normally call that as a high saturated nitrile rubber, which makes them high resistance to the heat. They can high resist to the wear. They has high resistance. They got high tensile strength. They have high abrasion resistance. So all these things add a feature to the seals that their life actually goes by 5 to 6 times over the standard NBR seal, which is used in most of the gearboxes. And if the seals start failing early, that's where the dust and moisture and all that start getting inside the gearboxes, which start eventually fails the bearings and the gearing. So we try to address the root cause of these problems by offering a better sealing. Our sealings, again, they have a design which can be used in a bidirectional rotation of the boxes. They can work within the -40 to 150 degrees Celsius, so it's pretty decent range. Uh, we also has a harsh duty wearing kit. Some of the time the application is very in a very dusty or dirty environment. We can offer an additional wearing kit. We can also offer bushing covers as well, which is actually can protect the bushing and the seal. The Our HNBR seal as can be considered as replacement of a white on seal. So they're very high quality seals and will last long and will improve the overall life of the gearbox. Backstop is again you must have noticed a lot of these conveyors are actually inclined, and these conveyors will tend to roll back when there is no power or any gearbox if the conveyor has stopped. So what happens is we need to have a backstop to stop back rolling of this conveyor. Dodge has a backstop which can be externally mounted. That means that you don't have to open the gearbox to mount the backstop. These backstops are designed to work with a high pressure lubricant, which is not the case in other manufacturer. Their backstop will slip when if they are exposed to the high extreme pressure lubricants, which then they don't allow them to use the good quality lubricants, and that again impact the life of the whole gearbox. These are lift off style backstop. Their capacity is pretty high. They are like 350% higher than the Sprague style. They work without any failures and give a good feature to avoid the rollback of these conveyors. As I said, we don't have to open the box. They're externally mounted. So again, it's very neat and clean mounting, and you don't actually touch the warranty of the gearbox. TA Talcom again has some accessories which we normally stock. So you see the top pictures is the motor mount. Dodge can supply those motor mounts which can use to mount the motor on top of the gearbox and then eventually belt drive and other stuff. We have hydrolock breathers which keeps the moisture out, and it has indicator if the silica gel color will change, and eventually it will tell you what's the time of changing the breather or check the oil quality and all. We do have covers as well. So we have open cover and closed cover, which obviously open cover will come on the pulley side and close at the back of the gearbox to protect the bushing and the sealing. The twin taper bushing tie rod kits is must. You need to have a tie rod to attach the gearbox to the structure, and then you need a twin taper bushing to mount the gearbox onto the shaft. That is supplied with the key as well. So it's a very secure connection between the gearbox and the shaft. And on the right-hand side corner, you see screw conveyor accessories, which is screw conveyor adapter and a screw conveyor shaft, which we can supply. And a lot of our customers use the screw conveyors accessories to use this or replace existing drives on a screw conveyor. Uh, Moving to a motorized torque arm, this is again the next generation of the Tier 2 where pretty much decent features, all the innovations done in Tier 2 has carried forward to MTA. And on top of that, we remove the belt drive and we started using a direct motor on it. The MTA actually has a variety of ratio. It ranges from 17, 18 to goes up to 65 or 70. We have 8 sizes in this, and that's pretty much what we stock in Australia. This is a good combination where customer want to get rid of the belt drive and want to install a clean, neat drive like this. Very popular on bucket elevators or belt feeders or those kind of conveyors, where we have compact space, and a lot of time customer use dual drive on either side of the pulley. Yeah, and they're pretty popular since they launched in 2007. So again, rated for AGMA, they're designed with as AGMA standards. So heavy gearing, wide gearing, they can go up to 75 kilowatt install power. We also came up with the new sizes, which is size 9, 10, and 12, which can go to much higher ratings, and we can now supply those as well. We don't stock them as of in Australia. However, we have them in product line now. So if anyone has better, if you have a larger kilowatt requirement, we can actually supply them. They can be installed with a C-phase B5 IC motor. So any make motor is good enough. You just need to have a B5 IC flange and use the same standard accessories which we use for TA2. So the accessories in the belt drive gearbox and the accessories used for MTA are same. So that means you can you reduce your inventory. If your plant has TA2 and MTA together, you can still maintain minimum accessories required because it's pretty common between these two boxes. Uh, One of the great feature of MTA is the kind of or the design of the input pinion. So what we has developed is, or what we say is, our pinions are straddle mounted, means it is supported by bearings on both the sides. So if you look at the top picture, our pinion is actually supported on both the side by the bearing, and which is a taper roller bearing. In other case, in other manufacturers, the bearing the pinion is not supported on, it's only supported by one side and not the other side, which actually leads to a failure of vibrations at high speed and then shock loads, and eventually the pinion start failing. Our designs is, our pinion is a single, so input shaft and a pinion is made of a one metal piece. Against that, if you look at the manufacturer's pinion, it is actually a press fit on an input shaft. So that's just become sort of weak link when you're trying to transmit the torque in, and a reason for failure. So that's pretty significant development Dodge has done in terms of how we mount our input pinion. As I said, these motors required a B5 flange to mount them or attach to the gearbox. We call them as a dry phase because when you, for any reason, if you have to remove the motor for maintenance or if you remove the coupling, there'll be no oil leakage. The gearbox is not open when you actually take off the motor. So this is again a neat and clean design. Most of the cases, if you have to remove the motor or remove the coupling, the gearbox actually open and you have to drain the oil as well, which is not the case in ours. You can still remove the motor and coupling for maintenance or if to for any checking, and the oil remain as it is. The gearbox will not be open, and we don't really touch or compromise on gearbox warranty. You don't have to uh, do pre-assembly. So it's pretty much, if the motor has a problem or failure, it's pretty easy and convenient to replace the motor on top of this gearbox. As we said, yeah. So these comes with the same accessories as TA2. They have a screw conveyor arrangement as well, like you see in the top right picture. They comes with the breathers and covers. We have tie rod kits as well. These gearboxes carry the same seal which is in TA2, which is HNBR sealing. All the bearings in these gearboxes are taper roller bearing, so they will last long compared to the ball bearings and spherical roller bearings. Backstop again in these gearboxes can be mounted externally, so you don't have to open the gearbox to mount the backstop. So pretty much every feature which was introduced in Tier 2 carried forward into MTA. On top of that, better pinion design supported by bearings on both sides and single piece pinion. So there's a lot of advantages of using MTA over Tier 2. You remove the belt, you can still achieve good speed or various speeds because we have ratio ranging from 17 to 65 or 70. So pretty decent product to have a very compact design to replace the belt drive. And about this gearing, so TA2 and MTA is pretty much stock. We have a huge stock from the entire range within Australia, and Motion is equally stocking this product across their stocking locations in Australia, I think, which covers the New South Wales, Queensland, and WA. So all the sizes, all the accessories is in stock with Motion and Dodge. So if you have any specific requirement, we are pretty quick to supply. Our turnaround is very quick. We have done supplied, like we talk to customer, we provide a solution, we get the order, and we supply by end of the day, and next day morning the drives are installed. So our turnaround time is pretty quick because of the way we carry the stock along with the Motion across the country. So yeah, if you have any requirements specific to that, we are pretty quick to supply and solve the problem. Moving to the next one is the ISN. ISN is one of the product of our entire big bearing range. This is a spherical roller bearing. So I is actually Imperial SN style. So this bearing housing was this bearing unit was developed to actually replace the SN style using. So the dimensions will exactly match the SN. So bolt centers will match the SN style as well as the center height. Initially, it was when it launched, it was only Imperial sizes, but now we have them in metric as well. Uh, Very popular product in Australia and globally. We stock them in our Dandenong warehouse. There it has again, it's a one part number. You don't have to order multiple parts like what you see in the left hand side picture, which is the conventional case. We bring this bearing as assembled, as you see in the right side picture, from the factory. So that is pre-assembled, pre-lubricated in the factory, and they come as a complete assembly. So it's sort of taking out of the box and sliding onto the shaft to install it. So we don't have to do order multiple parts or do the installation or assembly of these together. We have a push and pull adapter locking system for up to size 110, and above that we have a safety mount concept, which makes it more easy and which requires very less torque compared to conventional bearing. As I said, Dodge has the inventor or has a patented ISN integral adapter system. So what we use is we have an adapter sleeve, which actually use along with the lock nut to mount these bearings, which makes mounting and dismounting of this bearing pretty easy. It's naturally take like 15-20 minutes to mount the bearings, and we do not need experts or specialized fitters to mount these bearings. If we follow the manual instructions, and then it's pretty quick to install this bearing. What we need to do is depending upon the diameter of the shaft, we decide what sort of rotations we need to give to the lock nut, and that will automatically sets the clearance in the bearing. That's it. So it's easy installation of 15 minutes. Same way when you reverse the lock nut, that's how the adapter sleeve will expand and it will take off the bearing from to the shaft. So very very highly patented technology, which we call as a push and pull mount arrangement. So again, the whole adapter sleeve will be touching the shaft, so it achieves the clearance and it will set like that. The seals are, if you look at the picture, the seals are actually not touching the shaft. They're on the inner race of the bearing, and the main purpose of these seals is to actually protect the spherical rollers. So the sealing, we will talk about sealing in the next slides, but if you look at the picture, this we also has this bearing as in non-expansion and expansion. By easy switchover of the locating ring between the slots, we can actually convert this bearing from expansion to non-expansion. Again, like in gearing, we invested a lot of R&D and time to develop some good seals for this bearing, because I believe seals improve the life of any mechanical product like gearboxes or bearing. So our seals are actually Trident triple lip seal. They're made of nitrile rubber. They have actually contact at 3 different locations if you look at them. And the way these seals are developed, that they last long in high dusty and dirty environment. We have standard Lebanon seals. We have Lebanon seals as well, which is normally used for high temperature and high speed application. We can supply covers also to add for additional safety and protect the seals. Uh, Lebanon seals, again, as you said, depending upon what sort of application you need or what sort of temperature range we're talking, we can supply them as well, and we stock them in Australia. So ISN uh, uh, with the Lebanon seals and ISN with the Trident seals are stocked in Australia. And yeah, we supply them as per the customer requirement and the application requirement. If it's a new design, we gather some information and then we suggest what would be the best solution for the application. A lot of time we have seen the Trident seals are failing, and then we go to the root cause and we try to see, and if we see if we can offer a Lebanon seal, which can solve the problem. The seals are designed in such a way that they are actually have a chamfer or a tapered angle when they touch the inner race, and when we actually the way that it is designed to actually push out the old grease and the dust. So how we actually grease these bearings are when the bearings are in application and running. That's where we start pumping the new grease into the bearing, which will actually push the old grease along with the dirt and moist, and it will actually go out of the bearing. So you keep putting the grease in the bearing until you start seeing the new grease coming out or purging out of the seals. And that's where we ensure that, okay, the old grease has come out of the bearing and it's now filled with the new grease. And this makes the maintenance of this bearing pretty easy. Also, it reduces the greasing requirement in the bearing. So for an initial fill, we say like 60 to 70% less grease, and for the refill, we talk about 15 to 20% less grease compared to the conventional bearing. So the seal design actually helps to re-grease this bearing easily, and then we can actually save a lot of time on the greasing and the money. Again, ISN has few other style, or we call them a different style bearings. So we get two bolt design, we have circular flange, we have four bolt design, we have IP style bearings, we have take up units, we have square flange. They all has a common insert. So we have a single insert which can be used in all these bearings. Our insert is a complete unit which actually has the lock nut, we have sleeve, the bearing itself and seal. So this will come as a complete unit again, and you can just replace that into the existing housing if you don't want to change the housing. Yeah, this is the insert for higher capa or higher diameter bearings, which is 110 and above, which we call as the safety mount insert. So again, common for most of the spherical roller products. ISN, yeah, as I said, it's a factory sealed and greased, so we you don't have to actually assemble that at your location. Not necessarily that every plant has a good facility to assemble these bearings or a clean environment. And most of the time, the problem starts when you don't have a clean environment while assembling these bearings, and the dirt get trapped even before the actually bearing start in operation, and that's where the failure starts, because once this dirt start getting trapped between the rollers, and that leads to the eventual bearing failure. So we remove that problem by assembling the bearing in a controlled factory environment by expert. The patented sealing arrangement actually maximizes the life of this bearing, and it just improve the way sealing of this bearing conventionally done. Also, the way the seals are designed, as I said, the lubrication or the maintenance of these bearings very easy. We save a lot of money and time on the grease feel as well. Arrives in one piece, so it's pretty ready to install. Yeah, and then sizes from 30 to 140 mm. We stock them in Australia. And yeah, if you have any specific size requirement, we do also stock them Imperial as well, because there are a lot of machines who are designed in America has Imperial ISN on them, and then we can supply these Imperial ISN as well. Optional end covers is for additional safety. We stock them in Australia as well. You do not need any specialized tool to mount these bearings. We do stock C spanners, to rotate the lock nut, but that can be done with your existing equipment as well. So it's not necessary to have any specialized tools or a special skill to mount these bearings. Our next product is actually Raptor coupling. So pretty popular coupling. This was launched 4 to 5 years back, and it's a big hit in the US and in Australia as well. So it is from the range of our tire coupling range. So used in pump industry or compressor industry, or in metal handling, in cement, and also we have a good success of this product across globe and in Australia. We have 12, 15 sizes in this. They can come in close couple or a spacer design. A lot of time customer do have some spacer requirements, so we come with the standard spacer design as well. We have a patented V-lock technology or a design which actually improves the capacity of the torque transmission of these bearings when we also these couplings when we install them. We also have them improved vibration or shock damping. So the way the material of this coupling is used, or the rubber what we have developed over a period, has a high capacity to take the vibration and the shock loads. It's pretty easy to mount, standard procedures to mount. We have elongated holes, for easy adjustments and mounting. This is the only coupling in this kind of style or in the tire coupling range where offer 5 years limited warranty. So there's no other competitor product which can offer 5 years warranty on the element of this coupling. The hubs are standard, so either you can get pilot bore hubs or pre-board hubs, or you can get taper lock hubs as well. And we supply a spacer extension as additional features. So yeah, and we stock these all in Australia, in our Melbourne warehouse. Again, because of what we use is natural rubber compared to most of the other competitor who use the polyurethane sort of material for this element. And actually, because we have expertise in natural rubber for last 50 years, we have developed the element in such a way that it lasts longer than the polyurethane one. What we have seen over the period is the life of this coupling is around 5 to 6 times more than the standard polyurethane element which others manufacturers use. They're very easy to install. They have slotted holes, so you can do some small adjustments while mounting them if you're replacing the couplings. These best part of these are they can be interchanged with Rexnord Omega or TB Wood hubs. So you don't have to actually, if the hubs are in good condition, you don't need to buy the hubs. You can just buy the element and replace them on the existing Rexnord or TB Wood hubs. So we can only supply element as well, and yeah, you can install them on the existing hubs. The wing lock technology, actually, I mean, what we mean is wing lock is, if you look at the design, how the rubber element has spread across the metal portion, and it is actually covering all other area other than the bolt area, which we actually say as a wing kind of design, which maximize the bond between the metal piece and the rubber element. So because of this, we ensure that we can easily transmit very high capacity torque. So we go up to 38,000 Newton meter torque transmission capacity with this kind of wing lock design. This is a good comparison photo between what the other manufacturers are supplying against what Dodge is supplying. So if you look at on the left-hand side, that's what you get from the other manufacturer. Compared to the right-hand side, if you see the kind of area which Dodge is covering when we're installing them, or we actually adhering them to the metal pieces. And this is what we call as wing lock technology, where you have maximized bond in between the metal piece and the rubber. We use very high strong adhesive to connect the metal piece and the rubber, which allows us to maximize our crossing capacity. This also gives a confidence to offer 5 years warranty, which nobody else can give in the market, because most of the couplings start failing at their joints or at their bond, and in eventually complete failure of the element. So you can see the quality difference between the Dodge product compared to the other manufacturer. Again, based with 50 years of experience, we use natural rubber for develop this coupling. They can be used in high flammable area as well. They can exceptional resistant to breakdown due to moisture, so they can use in moisture area as well. They have a superior thermal conductivity, so they can use it to dissipate the heat built within the application. So I mean, we have variety of features developed, variety of features involved in this product development, which allows it to use at various application, which can be at a high moisture or high temperature environment. We also have this couplings element to be used in high chemical exposure applications as well. So we call them as a different element, which is called armor element, which is in the next slide. And these are normally used for application which actually have a high contamination or a high chemical exposure. Again, like some chemicals like ozone or petroleum oils, all that can be exposed to this, and the standard natural rubber may not stand against that and may start failing eventually. So we have armor elements which can be used for those specific. So any gas or pump or petroleum industry, we can supply these elements as well. And again, the standard elements can go and fit on other manufacturers' hubs, so you don't have to really replace the hubs. Our couplings are actually ATEX certified, so it's a third-party ATEX certification. It's not done within house. It's a third party who actually review, analyze, and study the coupling elements, and then they certify it. So they are ATEX certified. all our couplings comes with, or element comes with 5 years warranty. So we have a warranty card within our box. So that's pretty much distinct feature, or distinguish separate us from rest of the pack, where we are confident to offer 5 years of warranty because of the experience we have in the coupling, or the way we have developed the element for last, with the experience of last 50 years. Our next product is SEMA drums. So we have SEMA is again Conveyor Equipment Manufacturing Association. So that's widely accepted and regarded standards, of globally. And we develop and design these SEMA drums based on that. So we follow the specification what SEMA has laid down, and which is pretty much accepted all across the industry. Again, it has a long history. Launched in 1910 as first cast iron pulley, and eventually over the period we have developed these pulleys. We introduced HE bushing, we have introduced XT bushing, we have come up with mine duty pulleys, which is MDX. Uh, we have we have capacity to build engineered pulleys as well. So we have standard pulleys in stock, but we can also design pulley and manufacture them as per the customer requirement. We have various lagging which we can supply on these pulleys. So we can supply rubber lagging, we can do D-lags, we can have ceramic lagging. So yeah, there is a good capacity within Dodge to supply various kind of pulleys, whether it's a standard or non-standard. All our drums are now supplied with the XT bushings. So we XT bushings is sort of has 9.5 degree of taper angle, so which makes it very easy on and off while we are trying to mount it onto the shaft. All our pulleys are has arc welds, so we only follow arc welds for the pulley, which actually make the pulley last long in the high vibration, high shock applications. Uh, our standards are vulcanized SBR lagging. That's what we supply on most of our pulleys if you ask for lag pulley. But optional is, as I said, we can supply D-lag as well as ceramic lagging. Custom diameters is available on customer demand, but what we stock in Australia is standard diameters and the standard width. So most of our pulleys or can be used as it is to replace the existing pulleys, because they can support the standard belt width and they can support the standard diameter which is on existing drums. We do not supply shaft, so shaft can be bought locally and can be installed on these pulleys or drums. So we supply the complete pulley and the XT bushing to mount on the shaft. So this is a sort of a conventional design, what normally done. So if you look at, you have a bushing. Most of the time, the conventional use are either taper lock bushings or QD bushing. On top of that, there is a hub, and then there is end disc. So obviously, because you're increasing the component, there is a multiple location where you have to weld these components together. And when the shaft get deflected, and obviously shaft will be under deflection, under the load and stress. So that time the hubs and end start getting deflection as well, and the outer weld of these hubs get into the stress, and that's where the reason where the welds start getting cracked and then pulley start to fail. What we have developed is we call as integral hub design. So our hub and end disc is made of a one piece. So we do not actually join them together, which actually removes the extra weld at the between the hull, end disc and hub. So only weld we have is at the top where it is actually connected to the rim, or we say and that is again an arc weld. So by removing the additional welding, we actually remove the weak links or weak points within our drums, and that ensures that our pulley lasts longer. We do have the center disc depending upon the width of the pulley, because for larger belt width, when the pulley face width is very large, you still have to support them at the center. And we do supply center discs as well, which is again pre-fabricated within factory. Lagging, again, like we have non-lag pulleys as well. If customer would like to have lag themselves in Australia, if ceramic lagging or something, we can supply that. Otherwise, our standard pulley comes with the rubber lagging. This is again how the conventional design works. So what happens exactly, due to shaft thermal expansions and all, the taper bushings or QD bushings actually tend to move outwards. And when they try to move outwards, they actually put a lot of pressure onto the end disc, where this is exaggerated picture, but this is how the end disc starts bending, and that's where start failing. The XT bushing actually makes this installation very easy, where it doesn't actually put a lot of stress onto the welds of these pulleys, and it actually makes it easy to install and take it off, as well as the life of the whole conveyor drum. So the XT bushing actually makes it easy installation and removal. as well as it improves or it reduces the stress getting onto the welds on these conveyor drums. This is a picture of how Dodge drums are supplied. So this is all fabricated and manufactured in US. We supply them as a lagged. Every pulley will have a tag on it. So it's a very high quality product which we supply as like we supply our gearing and bearings. Again, it can go up to 70,000 psi. They control reported process. So it's all done within our multiple factories within US. Yeah, and you can just look at the picture. You can see the quality. This is the design with the herringbone. Most of the pulley we bring like this, but again, we can get diamond design as well if customer wants, or ceramic lagging if customer would like to have them. A comparison about how the local manufacturer. So the left-hand side picture is actually a local manufacturer within Australia against what we have Dodge. If you look at the thickness of the lagging, our lagging is almost double. It is a I would say the quality of the lagging determines the life of the pulley as well, because eventually the lagging will shed off when it start running on the top of the belt. And that's why the high quality lagging is very important. They're all hot vulcanized lagging. So what we use on our pulley, so the lagging will stand or sit on the pulley rim forever. It won't peel off, or it will obviously it will shed off because it's rubber, but it won't cut or it will not peel off from the base of the lag. And that's how the difference is. Again, the shaft is pretty much welded on the left hand side. However, our shafts can be slid in and can be installed with the XT bushing, so which makes it easy and on and off. So that sort of quality difference we see when we compare against Dodge. Yeah, that's pretty much on our 5 targeted products which we would like to promote in the medium-sized bulk material handling industry. If you have any specific questions, I'm happy to answer.
Well done, Nayan. That was very, very comprehensive, mate, and really appreciate your efforts, mate. Thank you. Chev, do we have any questions outstanding?
Not yet. We haven't had any questions.
Okay. I might just do a quick wrap up. So some of the points that I picked out of that, obviously Nayan has some fantastic expertise, which is a fantastic benefit for both Motion, our staff, and also our customers. His expertise is very experienced in conveyor and conveyor drives and actual conveyor selection. So yeah, very well experienced there, Nayan, and we really appreciate that. That's backed up with our 40 years of relationship in Australia with Dodge, which has been a fantastic ongoing relationship. And also that's also backed up by our relationship in the US with Motion and Dodge in the US. Availability of stock, I think, is a real positive. We've placed stock in both Queensland, New South Wales, WA, and Victoria. So stock availability should be pretty good. We also have outside of Nayan's expertise, we have at least 12 or 13 PT specialists or power transmission specialists around the country, which can answer any of the questions regarding to your bulk materials handling and the Dodge product. And I suppose last of all, I suppose it's the world-class product which Dodge have, which makes us which falls well into the Motion mentality of distributing goods, that world-class product. Chev, looks like we got a question there.
Yes, we do. So Matthew has asked, do you have a list of stocked conveyor drums in Australia?
Yeah, we can supply that list. So we have a brochure where we have highlighted some of our products that we stock within Australia, and then that can be forwarded. Yep.
Absolutely. So I've got that list. So Matt, if you'd like to just send me a quick email as a reminder, and I can send you that list, mate.
Great. And Bradley has asked, when will we be stocking drums?
Okay, it's a bit of an ongoing story for us. Yeah, we're in the process of looking at that. Yeah, so it's just got to go up through the ranks within Motion to get approval.
Perfect.
hopefully very soon.
Absolutely. I think that's a wrap.
Okay. Thank you once again, Nayan, and to Chev. Thanks for putting this all together. Really appreciate it. Any last words, Nayan?
Now, as Steve said, we are pretty confident about supplying a very high quality product, which backed with very 140 years of experience. So we proud of, and promote ourselves as a very high quality, high engineered product with some great solutions or thoughts behind it. So again, we said if you have any problems with your existing application, if you would like to upgrade, if you have continuous failures, repetitive failures, we are happy to jump in and we try to find a solution and we supply a complete solution. Again, like stock is a positive sign where we have it and Motion have it locally. So the turnaround is pretty quick. So yeah, we are happy to help for any problematic application you have. If you have any new application we would like to develop and would like to involve us and our designers in US, we're happy to do that as well. So yeah, please feel free to get back to us with any questions you have on our product or if you any support you need.
Awesome. Awesome, Nayan. I back that 100%. Once again, thank you all for your attendance, and we look forward to seeing you in the next presentation from Motion. Thanks, guys. Thanks again, Nayan.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Shiv.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.